number of ships pulling into ports to unload and load containers rebounded in many parts of the world in the third quarter of 2020, according to new UNCTAD calculations. This offers a hopeful sign for world merchandise trade, which suffered a historic year-on-year fall of 27% in the second quarter. Shipping saw a dramatic slowdown earlier this year as government measures used to curb the COVID-19 pandemic restricted economic activities and travel. By mid-June, the average number of container vessels arriving weekly at ports worldwide had sunk to 8,722, an 8.5% year-on-year drop. But new data now shows that globally, the average weekly calls have started to recover, rising to 9,265 by early August, just 3% below the levels of 1 year earlier.
Hello and welcome to the 33rd edition of Marex Maritime News. These are the headlines on Monday, 28 September 2020. NUSI Supremo SLAMS this year's IMO theme. ATPI marks milestone of 100 air charters for crew transfers. Tough action if seafarers not recognized as key workers. Multinationals join outcry for resolving crew change problems. GESCO to install latest engine monitoring software across its fleet. Jet fuel now for ship use. And now the news in detail. General Secretary of the National Union of Seafarers of India, Mr. Abdul Ghani Sarang, has slammed this year's IMO theme, Sustainable Shipping for a Sustainable Planet, saying that the IMO should instead talk about sustaining seafarers for sustainable shipping. Sarang has termed the IMO's theme this year as smacking of hypocrisy. He candidly spoke to Marex on this vexing issue.
Every year we celebrate the World Maritime Day since 1978, and particularly for the past so many years, with lots of guts, with lots of passion. But the COVID-19 crisis has it has been a reality check, in as much as this year's theme is sustainable shipping for sustainable planet, and the way the seafarers have been treated because of the COVID crisis, it should actually be sustaining seafarers for sustainable shipping. It is a hypocrisy that we are making it appear that everything is hunky-dory, fair, everything is good, but in reality the seafarers have been treated with lot of contempt, treated as pariah. The goods which they have been bringing in the ports is readily taken in by the ports of in different countries, but the same seafarers, when they want to sign on, they are not allowed. This is the double standards. This is hypocrisy. This is discrimination. To be fair with all the seafarers of the world, this couldn't have been imagined. We talk about essential seafarers as essential and key workers, but the very seafarers have to really fight and agitate for essentials. It is an irony. So this year the theme should have been post the COVID crisis, that sustaining seafarers for sustainable shipping. And we at National Seafarers of India firmly of the opinion that it should have been like that, and we hope that the situation changes. Our Indian government has done a remarkable job of having crew change of more than 110,000 seafarers, including foreign seafarers. It is the only country in the whole world. Which other country has done this to facilitate the crew movement? So let's hope things get better.
Over 100 charter operations on more than 35 different routes have been organized and delivered to date by ATPI Marine and Energy during the COVID-19 pandemic. This has been a part of ATPI's efforts to repatriate seafarers and allow crew changes to take place. Working alongside industry associations such as the International Maritime Employers Council, FOSMA and MASA, ATPI has supported charters in all areas of the world, including those under lockdown. This includes a significant operation to transport 15,000 India-based seafarers from Mumbai and Delhi to Doha, where they could access worldwide connections and relieve others who have been at sea on extended contracts. On this World Maritime Day, the Specialist Division of the Global Travel Management Company, the ATPI Group, is calling for seafarers to be recognized as the critical workers in order to ensure that those still remaining at sea can return home.
We are proud to join the celebrations on World Maritime Day and its 2020 theme, Sustainable Shipping for Sustainable Planet. Sustainability in shipping depends on its people, and ATPI Marine and Energy is calling for seafarers to be recognized as critical workers in order to ensure that those still remaining at sea can return home in every possible way, including air charters. Prior to 2020, air charters in the shipping and energy industries were almost unheard of. But with most of commercial flights grounded and international borders closed, charters became a necessity. Working alongside industry associations such as IMEC, FOSMA, and MASA, ATPI has supported air charters in all areas of the world, including those in lockdown. This includes a significant operation to transport more than 15,000 India-based seafarers from Mumbai and Delhi to Doha, where they could access worldwide connections and relieve others who have been at sea on extended contracts. Charter activity over the last 6 months has also included mobilizing stranded cruise ship crew located in Norway to the Philippines, and regular flights from Europe to Angola and Namibia, despite both countries being in total lockdown. A significant number of charters have also taken place between Houston in the US and Ciudad del Carmen in Mexico, and crew have been moved throughout Asia, primarily into Manila and Singapore. Other popular locations for charters include Gdansk, Gibraltar, Las Palmas, and Miri.
Towards the end of March, the Government of India announced a complete lockdown in India to contain the spread of COVID virus. As a result of this, all airlines suspended their operations to India. Later, towards end May, Government of India allowed the use of charter flights with certain conditions. MASA FOSMA, with the help of DG Shipping, put forward a plan to the Government of India to operate charter flights to Doha from Mumbai and Delhi exclusively for seafarers. Due to the expertise and worldwide network, ATPI was selected as the travel partner for this critical operation. ATPI, along with the support of Indigo and Qatar Airways, took up this humongous task. Lots of hard work and extended hours were spent by all teams. Working from home made these operations further challenging. We are proud to say that till date, we have managed to operate over 100 charter flights successfully, moved over 20,000 Indian seafarers, and continue till date. The movement of Indian seafarers via charter flights had ensured that the Indian seafarers retain their employment on the foreign flag vessels. We continue to operate flights in the month of October and feel very privileged to support MASA FOSMA in this endeavor. This winning teamwork has shown all countries globally how a collaborated effort between a local government, authorities, and shipping associations can be successful. ATP has always adopted a philosophy of delivering when it matters the most, and the team has lived up to its tagline.
Given the pandemic over past few months, there have been ever-changing travel advisory as being issued globally, and limited ways of traveling due to lockdown, making it extremely challenging for seafarers to fly back home safely. Our teams at ATPI have been tirelessly working 24/7 and have forged strategic alliance with reputed associations like IMEC, FOSMA, MASA. In addition, we've tied up with the leading airlines, the likes of Indigo, Qatar Airways, thereby enabling the endeavor of making travel possible via charter flights. We have been proud to offer our services to major shipping companies in solving the puzzle of crew change, mobilization, and repatriation for thousands of seafarers over past few months, and continue to deliver what really matters to our clients.
Marking the World Maritime Day today, the Nautilus Federation of 22 maritime unions said the seafarers are being denied their human rights during the pandemic, with as many as 3 lakh being stuck at sea beyond the agreed 11-month maximum service. The Federation, in a joint statement, said that the failure of the governments, industry, and flag states to name seafarers as key workers and get them off ships to home to their loved ones has led to a humanitarian crisis that can no longer be tolerated. This is a wholly predicted, yet avoidable humanitarian crisis. And we call for action against governments who deny seafarers their fundamental rights. Nautilus Federation Director Mark Dickinson said, "Should that international solution cause port states to detain the growing number of vessels until the seafarers are repatriated, the industry and the governments need to prepare for the disruption this would cause to the global supply chain."
आज this world medical emergency में which is due to COVID-19 situation बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब है. हमारे पूरे all over the world more than 300,000 seafarers over the contract सेल कर रहे हैं. उसकी वजह बहुत सारे पोर्ट्स पे साइन ऑफ नहीं होना सबसे बड़ी वजह है. इसके लिए जिस कंट्री में लोग साइन ऑफ नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, इसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उस कंट्री के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, मैरीन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की बनती है कि उनके साथ वो डायलॉग करे जिस कंट्री से साइन ऑफ नहीं हो पा रहा है. एज होल वर्ल्ड सेइंग फॉर द सीफेयरर्स दैट दे आर द की वर्कर. अगर वो की वर्कर हैं तो उनको सपोर्ट मिलना चाहिए. ये सपोर्ट उनको नहीं मिल रही है और ओवर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बहुत सारे सीफेयर सेल कर रहे हैं. इसकी वजह से दो प्रॉब्लम हो रही हैं. एक तो वो लोग अपसेट हैं, मेंटली डिस्टर्ब हैं, जो लोग साइन ऑफ नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, ओवर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हैं, उनकी फैमिलीज के भी इशू अभी काफ़ी हैं, वो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. दूसरे जो लंबे समय से अपनी बारी के लिए इंतजार कर रहे हैं, वो लोग भी शिप में जा सकेंगे. सो ये कहीं ना कहीं हमारी गवर्नमेंट इस पे काम कर रही है, लेकिन अभी और इससे ज़्यादा अटेंशन और काम करने की ज़रूरत है ताकि और ज़्यादा लोगों को साइन ऑफ किया जा सके, ताकि और मैक्सिमम लोगों को जॉब मिल सके और हमारी इंडस्ट्री और फर्टिलिटी और जॉब क्रिएट करने में मदद मिल सके. इसमें हमारी इंडस्ट्री काफ़ी अच्छा काम कर रही है, इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, लेकिन अभी और अगर इसमें थोड़ा सा अटेंशन दिया जाए तो और ज़्यादा इंडिया में जॉब क्रिएट किए जा सकते हैं और उनको हेल्प की जा सकती है अपने जॉब को, इंडस्ट्री के जॉब को बढ़ाने के लिए.
The COVID-19 crisis may prove to be a silver lining for shipping in making this hitherto invisible industry more visible to the world at large. International consumer product companies are finally seeing the role of shipping and seafarers as being critical to the global supply chain that underpins the operations of the world's multinational giants. Unilever PLC, Heineken N.V. and Procter & Gamble are among the multinational companies that are urging the world leaders to resolve the plight of more than 3 lakh seafarers stuck on commercial vessels, where forced labor and deteriorating working conditions threaten to disrupt the global supply chain. A letter sent to the United Nations Secretary General stated, "We are coming to a tipping point if we do not resolve the issue of the crew changes. There is a huge risk that the global supply chain will start failing. It is an inadvertent situation of forced labor because the seafarers are stuck on ships. It is a human rights issue."
We have seen that the unfortunate pandemic has changed our perception of the world that we are normally used to. Millions of people all around the world have been very adversely affected. One of the worst affected are our seafarers, who have kept the shipping lanes open during the worst times, thus saving the world economy from imminent collapse. Sadly, in spite of the immense contribution of these heroes, the governments around the world have been indifferent and have ignored to accord the importance that they really deserve. India is one of the very few countries whose administration has given due priority to the seafarers, that has resulted in over 100,000 crew changes in the last 4 months. However, a large number of foreign seafarers continue to be neglected and are having to do prolonged tenures on board in challenging circumstances, much beyond their normal tour of duty. Now, the pressure from some of the major international consumer product companies, for example, Unilever, Heineken, Procter & Gamble, etc., urging the world leaders to resolve the plight of hundreds of thousands of seafarers stuck on commercial vessels is a positive sign. I'm hoping that this will be a silver lining for the industry, which hitherto is invisible, to be more visible to the world at large. I salute our seafarers, wishing them all the best.
The Great Eastern Shipping Company, GESCO, is to install the ABB Ability Tacomar Expert Engine Performance Monitoring and Diagnostic Software across its fleet of 46 tankers and bulk carriers. The development marked for the first time that India's largest private ship owner has rolled out a fleet-wide engine monitoring software follows a successful trial on 2 vessels. ABB Turbocharging's Tacomar Expert System will allow onboard analysis of engine performance across GESCO's fleet, providing an instant diagnostics and optimization recommendations as opposed to the previous manual measurements and monthly data analysis.
Great Eastern Shipping Company is investing in engine monitoring software across the fleet. We would be rolling it out on all our 46 tankers and bulk carriers shortly to improve maintenance and performance monitoring of our main engines and auxiliary engines. This fleet-wide implementation follows successful trials of the engine monitoring software on 2 of our vessels. The software will be ABB's Tacomar Expert software. It will allow onboard analysis of engine performance and instant diagnostics of potential issues, and will recommend optimization of solutions. This would replace manual measurements and monthly data analysis on board of our propulsion systems and auxiliary engines. Whenever we used to go to engine manufacturers for analysis of engine performance, they would require it at given loads of say 50%, 75%, or 85%, or 100%. If there are any deviations, then they generally do not want to comment on the performance. This ABB Tacomar Expert will simplify the task of GESCO's performance management, and it will analyze the data and give us solutions or probable reasons for the anomalies. And the basic thing is, when we are monitoring from shore, It will help us on a single platform to see how the engines have been performing, and we could optimize by taking corrective actions at the right time. We hope it will cut costs and will have better running engines and better fuel economy for us.
The fuel that powers the passenger planes is normally amongst the most expensive oil products. But a sign into the times, the coronavirus has turned it into a blending component for a typically cheaper shipping fuel. Straight-run kerosene, usually processed in the jet fuel, is now being used to make low-sulfur fuel oil for the maritime industry amid the plunge in the consumption by the airlines. Higher than normal amount of diesel and vacuum gas oil are also finding their way into the shipping fuel. The shift, almost unthinkable just a year ago, reflects the obliteration of demand the aviation industry has suffered in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, with the International Air Transport Association not expecting the air travel to get back to pre-virus levels until 2024, this may be a feature of the market for some time to come.
Let us see the difference between straight-run kerosene and jet fuel and also their structures. Jet fuel is similar to diesel fuel. So diesel gas is heavier than the jet fuel with higher number of slightly larger hydrocarbon chains, though both are primarily paraffin oils. When it comes to the costing, with the recent price fluctuations causing the fuel costs to vary wildly by the type, many are led to ponder alternative ways to power their diesel and jet engines. And using too much straight-run kerosene, however, can lower the temperature at which the fuel catches fire, and this can be a serious risk for vessels. As a very combustible petroleum product, jet fuel can be used for marine fuel blend, and so I would not be surprised if this practice is occurring. However, jet fuel grades can have a far lower flash point or temperature at which they ignite, and that's what is required for shipping fuels. Again, while jet fuel woes are resulting in cheaper prices for shipping industry, blending can potentially pose problems. Coming to health hazards, these can be associated with the exposure to jet fuel and will vary according to its components, will vary according to the exposure duration and also the exposure phase. And therefore, this detailed subject will need deeper studies before introduction in the shipping industry for marine diesel engines.
A project partially financed by the EU is working on developing the next steps in the electrification of shipping, focusing on the power banks for ports. Among the techniques that the project is investigating is how used batteries from the transport sector can be reused to create energy storage in ports. Being undertaken by European ferry operator Stena, they are looking at the development of a new type of energy storage similar to large power banks, which they say will be essential for the charging of electric ferries. Stena is looking at the technology both as a means of powering a future generation of electric ferries as well as an alternative source for shoreside power. Stena believes it will be possible to develop a solution to use recycled batteries, creating in effect charging stations at ports. Back in 1765, a young peasant woman left a remote corner of rural France where her impoverished family had scraped a living for generations. She set out on a journey that would take her around the world, from the South American jungles and Magellan Strait to the tropical islands of the Indo-Pacific. Jean Barret was the first woman known to have circumnavigated the world. Abandoning her bonnet and apron for men's trousers and coats, she disguised herself as a man and signed on as assistant to the naturalist Philibert Commerson on one of the ships of Louis Antoine de Bougainville's expedition around the world. During that voyage, Jean helped Commerson amass the largest individual natural history collection known at the time. Thousands of the plant specimens can still be found in the herbarium of the Paris Natural History Museum, although few bear Jean's name. Globally, many shipping companies may be familiar to us, but do we know the top 10 of today? Here's the 10 that call the shots in the biggest possible manner. Number 1, AP Moller Maersk, revenue $38.3 billion US dollars. Number 2, Nippon Yusen Kabushiki Kaisha or NYK, revenue $24.8 billion. Number 3, COSCO Shipping Holdings, revenue $21.8 billion. At number 4, Mitsui O.S.K. Lines, revenue $14.2 billion. At number 5, Hapag-Lloyd, revenue $14.1 billion. At number 6, Kawasaki Kisen Kaisha Limited or K-Lines, revenue $13.4 billion. At number 7, Orient Overseas International, revenue $6.9 billion. At number 8, Kirby Corporation, revenue $2.5 billion. At number 9, COSCO Shipping Energy, revenue $2.3 billion. And at number 10, Matson Incorporated, revenue $2.2 billion. That's the top 10 of 2020.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. See you on next Monday.